Hello everybody and welcome to another video. I've got something a little different for you today, and today I'm actually going to be doing a review of the Switch port of Knights of the Old Republic. As far as the structure of this review, I'm going to talk a little bit about the game itself first, and then later on I'm going to talk about the actual port. So if you're more interested in that side of things, then you can skip further ahead in the video. I'll try to put a timestamp in the description. But if you'd like to hear my thoughts on the game itself, then feel free to watch this section. And also, I know I am kind of late to this. The game has already been on the Switch for about a week and a half, and I wanted to do a video a bit earlier on, but I wanted to really get a decent amount of experience with it, and so far I've put in probably about 15 or 20 hours into the game. I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through, so I think I've experienced enough of the Switch port in order to accurately give a review. So first off, as far as the game itself, Knights of the Old Republic is a Star Wars game, a Star Wars Legends game, which basically means it is no longer officially canon. It was released in 2003, developed by BioWare, and published by LucasArts. This game in many ways set the precedent for what BioWare would continue to do in their other RPG series such as Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and it received pretty widespread acclaim from both critics and fans alike. As far as the storyline of this game goes, it's set over 3,000 years prior to the Star Wars films, and you play as a character of your own creation. You can choose your own name, your own face, male or female character, different attributes and abilities, and all kinds of different things, and basically build your character to be however you want them to be. The game starts with you as a Republic soldier aboard the ship the Emdar Spire, and it is under attack by the Sith over the planet of Taris, and you crash land on the planet of Taris and have to find Bastila Shan, who is a Jedi Knight, and you, alongside Carth Onasi, who is a Republic officer who is also on the Endar Spire, go off to find Bastila, and over the course of doing so, you meet up with a couple of other companions, and also discover that you have the ability to use the Force. You then move on to Dantooine, where you train to become a Jedi, and from there are basically given the main quest line of the game, which is to find 4 star maps that will lead to the Starforge, which is a sort of super weapon that was found by Revan and Malak. Malak being the current leader of the Sith, and Revan being the previous leader of the Sith who Malak killed. And your quest is basically to track down this Starforge, figure out what it is, and destroy it. Because the Sith are using it in order to basically conquer the whole galaxy. And this mission brings you to multiple Star Wars planets, some of which being fan favorites and others being ones that you may not be as familiar with. For example, Tatooine, which is a very big planet in Star Wars, shows up during this game, as well as Kashyyyk, the homeworld of the Wookiees. And you can also visit Manaan, a very peaceful and tranquil sort of a ocean planet, and Korriban, which is basically the world of the Sith, as well as 1 or 2 other planets that I'm not going to spoil because they are later on in the game, and I think you should discover those for yourself if you have not played it before. Because that's basically the story of this game, and you, over the course of the game, can get 9 different companions, a couple of which are optional, and the story and the companions are really what make this game as popular and great as it is. It's very much a classic style Star Wars story with its twists and turns and good versus evil storyline, but it has a couple of unique qualities to it that really make it stand on its own. And it also does a great job with the lore and fleshing out the Star Wars universe. Since this takes place so far in the past compared to the films, it does a great job of establishing that this is very much the Star Wars universe you know and love, but a little bit different. As far as gameplay is concerned, it's all turn-based combat, along with exploration and side quests. The combat is one of the bigger barriers for people getting into the game, but I personally enjoy it. Then again, I have played this game many times over the years, but I do enjoy the combat, and I think it can be quite satisfying once you really kind of get into it. The exploration and questing, I think, is generally really good. There's some great quests in this game, and the worlds are a ton of fun to explore. So if you're looking for my recommendation as far as the game itself is concerned, I would definitely recommend picking this up, especially if you're a Star Wars fan and if you're interested in the Old Republic era. While the gameplay has certainly aged a bit and can maybe feel a little bit clunky if you're not used to this sort of game. The story and the characters certainly make up for it and make it a really interesting and engaging experience. And if you're wondering if you should pick up the Switch port of this game specifically, I am very pleased to say that this is actually a really fantastic port. It was ported by Aspyr, who have ported multiple Star Wars games in the past, both to PC and mobile, as well as other consoles like the PlayStation 4. They've ported games like the Jedi Knight series and Republic Commando, among others, and this is yet another quality port. The game looks and runs really well, especially in handheld mode. In the docked mode, you can definitely tell some of the more aged sort of graphics, but the game actually looks really great in handheld mode, which is predominantly how I've played it, although I have played it a pretty decent amount in docked mode as well. The game typically runs anywhere around 50 to 60 frames per second and runs very smoothly for the most part. The only performance issues I've really encountered are occasionally when there are things with more particle effects, such as grenades or mines. It does lag a little bit, but it's really a sort of split-second long thing. It doesn't really affect the gameplay all that much. And in addition to that, I have had it crash a couple of times, but over the course of my 20-ish hours of playing, it's only happened, I think, 3 times, so it's not really that much of an issue. As far as controls, I think they work actually quite well. I've mostly played this game with a keyboard and mouse in the past, so it was a little difficult to get used to, but once you get used to it, it works really well, and I got used to the controls fairly quickly. I will say it can be a little bit confusing, especially with combat, as far as which buttons you use to change the enemies that you're focusing on, or which buttons you use to do attacks and different things like that. But again, once I got used to it, it worked really smoothly. As far as any other issues with the port, the only other thing that I've had happen is occasionally some sound glitches. For example, certain sounds as far as ambient sounds and occasionally music tracks would not play the way they were supposed to, or at least the way they have in my experience. For example, in the PC version of the game, which is the one that I've by far played the most, there is a sound effect that plays in the terrace dueling arena while the announcer is announcing, and there's an ambient sound of a crowd cheering that plays throughout all of that, and in the Switch port, at least in my experience, that did not play in the background. It only played once the match finished. And I don't know if that was an intentional thing to cut out or not, since it does kind of make the announcer a little difficult to hear. But if it wasn't intentional, then I guess that could be considered an audio glitch, but it's really not much of an issue. And that kind of thing only pops up a couple of times throughout the game, at least so far. So I would say this is a really high quality port, and it definitely is a great way to play the game if you have never played it before, or if you're like me and you would love to experience it again on the Switch. Knights of the Old Republic is a fantastic game, both for its story and characters, and I do enjoy the gameplay as well, especially when it comes to the exploration and quest lines. And the Switch port is a great way to play it, and I would actually say is arguably now my favorite way to play Knights of the Old Republic. In the past, I figured, the PC version was going to be my go-to because of the keyboard and mouse controls, but actually I really enjoy being able to play it on the Switch, be able to play it on the TV or on the go, and it works really well either way. So I think Knights of the Old Republic on the Switch will probably be my preferred way of playing the game from this point onward. But anyways, that is pretty much all I have for you in this review. Let me know if you're going to pick up the game or if you already have, and if so, what do you think of it? And that is pretty much it for this video, so I'll see you guys next time.